The Baltimore Ravens have decided, or at least they're on the verge of it, that their time with Lamar Jackson it's replaceable, and they're going to lose him. What's going on, everybody? I'm Noah Strackbine. Thank you for jumping on to Steelers to Go, your daily to-go cup of Pittsburgh Steelers news and analysis. Find us on youtube.com/all Steelers talk or anywhere you get your podcasts. And today, we're diving into the AFC North and how it is about to get a lot easier for the Pittsburgh Steelers as the Baltimore Ravens allowed their greatest asset to walk away. Have they already? No. Are they on the verge of it? Yes. Does it make any sense? Absolutely not. According to ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, the Baltimore Ravens are on the verge of letting Lamar Jackson hit the offseason with the non-exclusive franchise tag as the deadline approaches, meaning that the Baltimore Ravens will have a contract with Lamar for the upcoming 2023 season, but another team or all other teams are allowed to negotiate with Lamar. If they settle on a bigger contract, the Baltimore Ravens can match that deal. If not, that team will send 2 first-round picks to the Baltimore Ravens in exchange for Lamar Jackson ending his time in Baltimore. Wow. For starters, Lamar Jackson is worth way more than 2 first-round picks. I mean, you have to remember that Russell Wilson went for a handful of selections, including 2 first-round picks. You have guys across the NFL, including Sean Payton, a head coach, who just went for more than 2 first-round picks. But the Baltimore Ravens are content with possibly losing Lamar for a simple exchange of 2 firsts. This is a guy that just now is entering his second contract, that has an MVP under his belt already, who, whether you want to blame him or not, is not responsible for the team struggling to win playoff games during his tenure in Baltimore. The team is being lashed out at left and right because of their poor business decisions, and yet people want to try and blame Lamar Jackson. It doesn't make any sense. And it doesn't make any sense, and it's helping the AFC North tremendously because the Ravens, they're going to lose them. They don't even feel as if a team that is trying to win this guy back. Calais Campbell went on NFL Network during the NFL Combine and said that Lamar's a guy that wants to be in Baltimore. He wants to get a deal done. Well, that's the craziest part is he wants to get a deal done. It doesn't seem as if Baltimore does. Where are they torn? They're torn on the guaranteed money. Baltimore does not want to be the team that follows the Cleveland Browns with Deshaun Watson guaranteeing an entire contract. Meanwhile, Lamar Jackson believes he's worth a fully guaranteed deal. Is he? That's tough to say. You have a very clear and I think abundant argument that the NFL should guarantee all of their contracts, but they don't. Because of that, you have to ask, is Lamar a guy who hasn't been healthy the last couple of seasons, played just 12 games the last 2 years? Is he worth a fully guaranteed deal? I think that answer would be much easier to make if the Ravens had a team around him that they felt comfortable winning with. But they don't. They have a solid running game. They have a good defense that also is going to have some holes this season. And then they have a quarterback, but they have no wide receiver options. Their tight end is just getting worse by the year, and their offensive line, well, it's still rebuilding. So for right now, they just have a guy who's a proven winner, who's the most exciting man on any football field as long as he's on there. But they don't want to risk spending a boatload of money on a guy that isn't going to win them a Super Bowl, when really they haven't even tried to win one themselves. Lamar Jackson is 45-16 as a starter with 12,000 yards, 101 touchdowns, and 38 interceptions. Meanwhile, he's been sacked 132 times, and you have to wonder why he's always so injured. Well, why is he so injured? Is it the 24 rushing touchdowns or the 4,400 rushing yards? Is it the fact that he is part of an offense that utilizes him more as a running back than a thrower? Or is it the fact that people will allude to, well, every time he gets hurt, he's in the pocket? Yeah, every time he is hurt, he's in the pocket. Maybe that's weird. Maybe the offensive line isn't built to pass protect. Maybe the Baltimore Ravens are so focused on their run game because they believe that Lamar Jackson is the most athletic freak there's ever been at quarterback that they're removing their concern to surround him with talent that will make him a viable quarterback. Maybe that's the issue. Maybe it's not Lamar Jackson gets hurt when he's in the pocket. Maybe it's the Baltimore Ravens aren't built for Lamar Jackson to be in the pocket, and bad things happen when he is. Did you ever think about that? The next question is, what is their backup plan? Because if you get 2 first-round picks for Lamar Jackson, let's go through the teams that likely need a quarterback. You have the Washington Commanders, the New York Jets, the Las Vegas Raiders, possibly the Miami Dolphins, who've reportedly been open to new options. The Atlanta Falcons are most certainly on there. The Tennessee Titans, maybe. Possibly the New York Giants, if them and Daniel Jones don't get a deal done. The San Francisco 49ers have been open about a quarterback, possibly. You have a lot of teams who are going to be willing. The Carolina Panthers are another one who are going to be willing. The Houston Texans, there's a lot of names out there who are going to be willing to send 2 first-round picks to the Baltimore Ravens in exchange for Lamar Jackson. All of them, or at least a good chunk of them, will allow you to draft a new quarterback. That being said, are you taking a risk on a new guy that's supposed to be the next Lamar Jackson? Because if your thought process as the Baltimore Ravens is, don't worry, we'll just get a cheaper option for Lamar Jackson, and then we'll do this to him again, well, you're not in a better situation. If you're looking for a Bryce Young, you don't have the offensive line to protect him, and people are already concerned about his small frame. If you're thinking about C.J. Stroud, he's not as athletic as the rest of them, and he's going to have a hard time when he's got literally no one to throw the football to. I guess Rashad Bateman when he's healthy. But if that's your only option, you're struggling. And then there's Anthony Richardson, who, by all accounts, is the next generational freak coming out of the NFL to play quarterback. But you're going to bring him in, and then you're just going to say, hey, just do the same thing Lamar Jackson did. And don't worry, in 5 years, you'll be beat up. We won't do anything to protect you. We won't build a team around you. We'll have everybody starting to call out people within our staff and our organization because they recognize how poorly we are building this team. But that's okay because you're not going to cost us what Lamar Jackson cost us. Do you see how it just doesn't make sense? The Baltimore Ravens have found themselves in a situation where if they at least had a team, if there was a structure around their quarterback that they felt very confident in, getting rid of Lamar Jackson wouldn't be a worry. Lamar Jackson is an MVP caliber quarterback. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League, and he's certainly worth $45 to $50 million a season without question. He is a guy that is a winner. He's a guy that could probably lead you to a Super Bowl if you put a team around him, but the Baltimore Ravens have not spent the last 5 years putting a team around Lamar Jackson. What they've done is spent the last 5 years building a defense and then complaining about how Lamar Jackson doesn't stay healthy. If they had the weapons and they said, hey, whatever, we're just going to stay young at quarterback, then you just stay young at quarterback. And at that moment, you're just fine because you have the team around them. But if they start over, they're starting over from scratch. They're bringing in a new quarterback with no weapons around him and trying to make it work. At least Lamar Jackson, when there are no weapons anywhere near this guy, can go win you football games because he's done that which again is another example of why you just simply pay this guy. How I understand that a guaranteed contract is terrifying, but you put yourself in this situation to where it's more difficult to make the decision because you don't understand what this offense could be because you didn't put any effort into it. And I get it. It's critical. It may be a bit too critical, but I feel confidently and I feel strongly that all these decisions and all this news that is coming out is just a reminder that the Baltimore Ravens have done nothing to support Lamar Jackson over the last 5 years. And now that his time is up, they are simply going to let it slip because they are not ready to hand out a boatload of money and go win a Super Bowl. Instead, what they're ready to do is lose their quarterback and then complain about how he was never healthy, but forget about the fact that they never put any effort into that offense to make it right for him. Instead, they just said Lamar Jackson will win us games. Lamar Jackson would win you games. But even Tom Brady, in his lowest of the low wide receivers, had somebody that he could throw the football to. And it wasn't a 36-year-old Deshaun Jackson and a bounce around the NFL Sammy Watkins and an always injured Rashad Bateman. A declining Mark Andrews. This offense was not built to win. It was built to let Lamar cook. Lamar cooked, and then he got hurt. And just because you, as an organization, have not built this team around him does not mean that he is not worth that money. Some team's going to give it to him with ease. And the Baltimore Ravens are going to walk away from this situation with 2 first-round picks and no star quarterback, remaining offensiveless because they did not make the right decisions. And then they just figured, well, we'll just take the easy route out. Doesn't work like that. And Lamar Jackson, who's worth way more than 2 first-round picks, is going to go for cheap for somebody who is willing to pay this guy what he's worth.